So they're going to be with someone, feel the shame of being with someone, the guilt, compartmentalize it, then go back, not show up as a real man in the relationship that he's cheating on, and then be like, oh, this must be a problem. They don't love me, so I'm going to go find someone else. What goes through a mind of a narcissist when they're cheating? Now, there's a lot of different nuances to this, and I'm going to try to do the best that I can. So kind of bear with me, okay? Because we're going to talk a little bit about how a narcissist justifies cheating behavior, some of the maybe like the signs, some of the different aspects, and a lot of times how they keep it straight, like the different lies and the different things they're trying to be able to justify and keep straight between different people, different parties, different things that are going on, different family members, whoever knows and doesn't know, all those kind of things, okay? So what's going on inside the mind of a narcissist? So you might be wondering, like, well, what makes you able to talk about this? Well, because I am a narcissist and because I've also cheated. And so understanding like a piece and like the crazy making that happens when someone cheats in a relationship is hard enough in general, but then you add narcissism on top of it, and that's where the person brings in gaslighting and different abuse to confuse the person about what's actually happening. Now, no, I try to be very careful in saying that my narcissism didn't cause cheating, okay? But most narcissists are cheaters because how they show up, what they do, and how they actually are showing up is a sense of entitlement and superiority of being able to do whatever they want. That's what they think. They think that you're just a prize. They think that you're just a toy to be able to get off the shelf, to be able to play with and put back up whenever they feel like it, because everything in the relationship that you've been a part of is transactional. So we're going to kind of dive into that. If you guys are new, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. Also not just awareness, but healing, growth, change, and development. Helping people actually move through the stages of their healing journey into a growth mindset. When you feel like crazy because you've been with this person, you're like, I know I don't want to be with this person, or I know I don't want to think about this person anymore, but you can't get unstuck. You can't actually like break that apart. It's trauma bond. And it'll leave you stuck for a long period of time. That's how we help people break out every single day. Mentally and emotionally first, and a lot of times physically as well, helping get them free. Okay, that's what we do. You can go to rawmotivation.com. You can grab a time one-on-one with me. We'd love to be able to have you part of one of our communities and to see if you could apply for Thriver to help you actually move forward in your healing and development. All right, that's enough of that. Okay, so talking about cheating with a narcissist, like what is actually going on? One of the first things I want to be able to explain, just kind of like lay the groundwork, is narcissists views themselves as being superior, like being better than you. Okay, so when I'm talking about this is a lot of times I would use the phrase of being like center of the universe. Like I thought I was the center of the universe. I didn't always say it. I would say I was perfect. I would say like it's hard living with such an amazing person. Like I would do all these things to pump myself up. Okay, but with this, narcissists get to the place of saying like I am the center of the universe. When this happens, superiority and entitlement fuels a lot of the cheating behaviors. And so if I'm the center of the universe, okay, so think of it this way. If I'm the king of the kingdom, if I'm the king of the world, put it that way, then everybody else are subjects. Everybody else is meant to serve me. Okay, this is like the thought process. I'm just trying to articulate it so it makes sense. Everybody is supposed to serve me. So as a result, I'm entitled to them. I'm entitled to what they have. I'm entitled to what they do. I'm entitled to anything. Okay, then there's this high level of superiority of like, I'm not just entitled, but I'm actually better, and they actually owe me. This is where like the dynamic shifts a little bit of like, wait a second, you actually owe me. That's why your money's my money and my money's my money. Like you'll see so many different pieces of this come in. So with narcissists like believing like that they're special, that they're the center of the universe, that they deserve special treatment from you. Okay, and oftentimes this is going to look in the form of sexual attention. Okay, like I deserve this from you. Like this is what you should give me. A narcissist also views themselves as being above the rules of what actually governs normal behavior. So like that makes sense. Like you shouldn't do that. Narcissist is like, that doesn't really apply to me because I'm above that, right? I'm the best in the universe. I'm that number one person. Okay, this helps the aspect of not feeling guilty because it's justified. Okay, think of it this way. Like narcissists oftentimes will justify the cheating behavior by convincing themselves that their partner's not meeting their needs. So how I would do this would be like, hey, my wife isn't meeting my needs emotionally. Okay, like she's not there for me. Like I can't talk to her. There's like a disconnect. Like she doesn't get me. She doesn't understand. So I'd find someone else. I'd be like, hey, like my wife doesn't understand me. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, you understand me. Like we have so much in common. Like, and then they would just start off and then it'd go emotional and physical every single time. And it gets to this place where it'd go back and forth where I wanted to play the story in my head that it wasn't my fault. That like, it was my wife's fault. because she didn't show up. She rejected me. Like, she didn't love me. Like, all these stories that I would tell myself, trying to convince myself that I was right, that I was entitled to find it because I thought I deserved something. This is a piece that you'll see with a lot of toxic men, that they feel like they deserve something, specifically sex, which is why they're in marriages where they're doing coercion, where they're doing marital rape, where they're hurting people in the relationship because they're not getting what they need. Notice the quotation marks of what they quote unquote need. Because when it comes down to it, a narcissist oftentimes will tell you that they need a certain level of sexuality from you, when in reality, they just want that. But the problem is they're not actually creating a safe environment for you to show up in a way that engages sexually. If you're not safe, you're not going to actually put anything out. But a narcissist doesn't care about that. They just care about taking you off the shelf, activating you, and making sure you do what they want you to do. Majority of men don't realize that you don't need sex to survive or to live. It's just a want. But the majority of times they don't really care about anything else but themselves. I speak this way so harshly and so directly because that's how I was. I would just view it as I'm not getting my needs, so I'm going to do whatever I need to do to fix that, to get what I want. Okay? So a lot of times the narcissist is going to justify what's actually happening in the relationship, to justify what they're doing. As a result, you have to get really, really good at rationalizing. Okay, rationalizing toxic behavior to make yourself feel better. This is what a narcissist does. I would rationalize the things that I did of like, it's okay that I did this because I needed to do this because of me, because of what I wanted, because of what I wanted to get. So like I had to switch it around and blame it on partner, circumstance, external factors, other things of saying like, it's not me, right? It's not me, so I don't have to take responsibility. Narcissist is great at wanting all the power with no responsibility. Like that's the whole goal of like, I want control over you, but I don't want responsibility of what actually happens. I don't want responsibility of my actions. Okay. So I'd have to rationalize. Now, sometimes narcissists will rationalize by compartmentalization. Okay. Growing up, I didn't know that word. Okay. Growing up, I just knew, hey, I put stuff in boxes. I literally knew that from a young kid of like, I would put stuff in boxes. I would have a box to deal with a certain emotion, a certain feeling, a certain person. When I was done with that, I'd box it up, put it away in the back of my mind and move forward. That box either didn't exist or I didn't think about it because it was out of sight, out of mind. Now, a lot of times a narcissist is going to like box things up so they don't have to feel this way or think about this. I would do the same thing in cheating relationships. Would talk to my wife and walk out the door, pick up the phone, call the next person. And like it didn't even make sense to a lot of people of like, wait a second, how can you do that? Because it was compartmentalized. Like what was in the house, what was there, that's one world. What was the cheating, that was another world. A lot of times narcissists will do this by splitting, but that's not the correct term, so let me rephrase that. By just like differentiating between the two. Okay, so I want you to consider, like for me and for a lot of narcissists, this is how it works. Like this reality here is what I'm currently experiencing. Like this is my wife, this is my family. Okay, I love this person, I'm faithful to this person, all this kind of stuff. Story I'm telling myself about this. Then walk out of the house. This reality has now taken over. Okay, I'm in love with this person. We're dating. Like we've got a great relationship. I'm not cheating on her. All this kind of stuff. This person doesn't exist. The only thing that is hard in this moment, once you learn how to do this, not a good thing to learn, but once a narcissist learns how to do this, the only thing that's hard is the jump in between. It's from saying bye to calling the next person, the jump in between. If you can rationalize or you can work past or you can compartmentalize even the jump in one sense, so like box, you can get to the place where the other person doesn't exist. So like even when you're there and you're like, I know, hey, this person's calling over here. I know this is a bad thing that I'm with this person. I'm not telling this person. I'm cheating on this person. All this kind of stuff. I know this is a bad thing, but it gets compartmentalized. It gets shut down. It gets rationalized so I don't have to deal with it. So I don't have to feel the guilt and the shame that actually comes with the responsibility of my actions and taking accountability for the shit that I've done. Okay, so a lot of times compartmentalizing, rationalizing, moving away to try to be able to do whatever I have to do. And part of it goes back to the aspect that a narcissist is doing this to boost their ego or reinforce power and control. Now you're going to see different pieces of it of like, well, I'm a victim. Well, I'm not getting this. Yeah, that makes sense. But there's also a piece of like enjoying the attention and admiration that you get from another person. So like for me, I'd be like, oh my gosh, This person, I found the one. This is the best person because they love me, because they adore me, because they serve me, because they worship me, all these different things. These are the thoughts of like, hey, this is actually happening. This person makes me the center of their universe, so it validates that I'm the center of the universe. Like a lot of what we talk about when we talk about narcissism is avoidance of shame, okay, and is trying to prop up a fragile ego. In all that, there's also a lot of circular reasoning and thought process that makes it confusing for quote unquote normal people to understand narcissists because it doesn't logically make sense. But for them to be able to activate a certain piece, feel that way, go back, activate another piece, feel that way, it like all goes back and forth all around the corner. Okay, so they're going to be with someone, feel the shame of being with someone, the guilt, compartmentalize it, then go back, not show up as a real man in the relationship that he's cheating on, and then be like, oh, this must be a problem. They don't love me, so I'm going to go find someone else. And it goes back and forth over and over and over again, looking for that one person that's going to make them feel better about themselves and validate their sense of self, their shallow self-image. Okay, maybe you're at the place where you've been cheated on, or you're in the relationship, you're like, this guy is cheating on me. Like, I know this is happening. Or you just got cheated on. You're like, I don't know what to do. Please reach out for help. We work every day helping get you clear and clarity of what's actually going on. You can go to rawmotivations.com, click on the one-on-ones. Would love to be able to talk to you to help you break free of the trauma bond, understand the abuse that you've been in, understand the thought process, how the narcissist is not actually caring or loving, even though they're demonstrating or showing pieces of that. You're like, wait a second, what's actually going on? What do I believe? All those different things make up part of the trauma bond. There's so many different things we can talk about. But if you have questions, if you want answers, if you want to start walking through this process to get healed by being with a narcissist, go to rawmotivations.com, click on the one-on-ones, and let's start today.